Hi, everybody. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon as well for some of you. So today I'm so happy because I've got a special guest. He's all the way from Canada, and welcome, John. John is in his car, and I'm going to introduce John Kobel before he starts talking about you have the power to create your life. So John lives in Canada. In the early 60s, John attended Stansted College, a renowned boarding school in Stansted, Quebec, where he learned the importance of being a free thinker. After receiving a BA from Concordia University and being admitted to the Faculty of Law of McGill University, he decided to change his trajectory and turn to the world of the arts, where he created innovative techniques used in the precise reproduction of fine works of art. In 1986, he received his first US patent for the colochrome process, which became the sharpest and most precise images in the world for the next 22 years, used almost exclusively by the scientific community, including the Canadian Space Agency RADARSAT-1 satellite, Landsat, Hubble Space Telescope, and Spot Image in France. In 1996, his innovation of the tricolor process was officially launched by Fuji at the prestigious PMA show in Las Vegas. This product was used widely by companies such as the Cirque du Soleil and Chanel. Through the years in research and development, John Kobel developed a parallel expertise in the realm of the conscientious management of our thoughts, and founded in 2003 the company 4 Weeks to Freedom, INC, which teaches us that we, as people, have abilities that go far beyond anything that we could even begin to imagine. John Kobel teaches her how to access that knowledge, and with precise instructions gives students the ability to create a happier, healthier, and more prosperous environment in which to live, and how by implicating themselves have a profound impact on their environment and world. So welcome, John, and you're going to talk about you have the power to create your life.
Thank you very much for inviting me, Isabelle. We do have the power to create our life. We're born with the ability, we're born with absolutely amazing abilities, which most people don't realize and most people don't use. When we say you're born with the ability to create your life, look at where most people's thoughts are. Most people are constantly thinking about what they don't want and are focused on what they don't want, discuss with their friends what they don't want, discuss disease, discuss everything that they don't want around them. And what happens? They get it. What I find really important, and what unfortunately most people don't do, is most people don't know clearly what it is that they want. And I believe that the most important thing you can ever do is sit down, and because we know so clearly what we don't want, write a list of what you don't want. Just take a piece of paper and write down on it what it is that you don't want in your life, with regards to your job, with regards to the way you're living, with regards to the conditions in the world. Write everything down that you don't want. And then next to it, write the opposite. And writing the opposite will give you a list of what you really want. So that will cut out all the effort of trying to know what it is that you want. You've got it right in front of you. And so you can return to that list and focus on it. And if you slip up, or if you start focusing on something that you don't want, go back to the list and look at it and bring yourself back to it, so that you're always focused on where you want to be. That to me is the most important. Now, that list also gives you an excellent list to be able to work in creating the life that you want, because you can go to that list, look at the items that you do want really badly, and then use all the emotion that you can develop build up emotion within you, because emotion is the only creative force in the universe. The more emotion you put behind something, the more you get it. Now, if you want to test it, raise your emotion. Sit and talk to somebody about, let's say, somebody that you know or that you both know, and get excited about it. Raise your emotion as high as you can, and you'll see that it won't be very long before you're going to hear from that person or run into more information about them. We do it all the time. That's the reason the telephone was developed in 3 countries in the world in the same week. Because when somebody's emotional about something, you're sending out a message from your heart, and that message has got no doubt in it, and it travels around the world.
You've got some examples, John, about people raising their emotion and being able to, in a way, attract what they want.
Oh yes, we've got a really good one. One is a doctor here in Montreal, actually, who was getting his PhD in a disease that's only found in Newfoundland. Nobody else has it. Nobody's got it anywhere except these people from Newfoundland who are native to it, and they will get this. It's a genetic disease that they develop. Strangely enough, while he was working on it, when he was so absolutely focused on the disease, something very strange happened. And that is that it wasn't strange that they had a child, but what was strange is their child was born with this disease, which was absolutely impossible because his wife and he had no connection, not just to Canada, but no connection even to Newfoundland or anything in connection with it. He had got his PhD on that disease, and when his daughter was born with it, it was impossible. The only connection he had with it was his amazing focus on the disease and what he was studying. We see this happen over and over again. Look around you and look at people who are absolutely focused on what they don't want. I found it amazing. We're going through the COVID section here in the world, and we've got people around us. I know people who have been so absolutely focused with so much energy and anger about what's been going on. Believe it or not, they came down with the disease. When it's over, they came down with it, but their focus on the disease was so powerful, and their anger about it was so incredible. And your emotion is creative. It's really important to understand. If you want to put emotion behind something that's going on in your life, make sure it's something that you want, because you're going to get it whether you want it or not if you put your emotion behind it.
Okay.
Now, when you're working on a project, when you're working on a mental project, what's imperative is that you use repetition. You keep doing it on a daily basis. There's 2 reasons for it. The first one is, of course, you're creating a roadmap. You're creating a roadmap that can be followed, and you're going to find that whatever you're focusing your attention on will appear in front of you in a much more incredible way than you ever thought it would ever happen. It happens all the time. When you set up this stream of repetition, not only do you focus on what you want, and not only do you set up a roadmap for it, but also you're helping yourself keep negative thoughts away from you, because a negative thought will get in the way of anything that you're trying to do. Also, by the way, negative people don't help you very much either. So if you're repeating this thing that you want, this idea that you've got, if you keep repeating it over and over again, you're going to keep it foremost in your mind, because you will always line up with your predominant thought pattern. So if what you're repeating becomes a predominant thought, you're helping it come into reality very quickly.
So it's true, because sometimes we talk to people about what we really want to do, and they try to talk us out of it. Just like, oh no, why are you going to do that? Oh, and you're going to take a risk, and if it doesn't work.
One of the things we suggest very strongly to people in our program, and that is, when you've got something that you really want to see happen, don't tell anybody about it. Keep it to yourself. Because Isabelle is absolutely right. We're surrounded by people who are going to want to mess up what it is that we're doing. They're going to come in and say, are you kidding? You know that's not going to work. And strangely enough, often it's the people who love us the most who do it. And this is what becomes impossible to believe. You'd think these people would want to back us. But no, they're looking at us and saying, why are you doing that? You know it's not going to work. Somehow, it's important to get rid of those people, because if you happen to, if they're a person with authority over you and you believe what they say, you will literally create what they just said, whether you want to or not. So keep it to yourself. Don't let other people know what you're doing. Let them look at you after and say, how the hell did you do that? Wow, amazing. Then they're going to be ready to listen to you.
Yeah, that's true. So give us a bit of examples of well, your example as well about using your thoughts. And I know you've been talking about the machine to me, how you visualized it and that machine appeared, right?
Yeah, that's a very good one, because it was just so amazing, and nobody could believe when it happened. I had the contract to do all the images for the Canadian satellite RadarSat-1, which because we had the sharpest images in the world for about 22 years. So along with that came the contract for doing all the images from RadarSat-1. To do the images, I needed a particular machine, which was the largest scanner ever built. It was 14 feet long, weighed about 4,000 pounds, and cost about $900,000. Now, I didn't have that kind of money. So I went to a company that had one of these machines, and I asked if I could be in the room when it was operating. And I was in the room, watched it operating. Even the operator had a glass with some water in it. The water wasn't even vibrating. The machine was so stable. The water was almost not moving at all. So what happened was, every single day for 5 minutes, I would go into that private room, shut the door on everything that was going on around me, and I would feel myself operating that machine. I would feel the vibration of the machine. I would feel the excitement of the machine being there. Now, what happened during that period, of seeing the machine operate? The first one was, I got a phone call from somebody. Now, nobody knew I wanted the machine. I got a phone call from a used equipment dealer saying, I have one of these machines, and I have this machine. Are you interested? And I said to him, he told me how much he wanted for it. And I said to him, no, I'm not interested. Thank you very much for thinking about me. And in hanging up the phone, I said out loud, because it's not free. Now, the second person to come was the owner of a major printing company in Montreal. And he told me that they'd shut their Toronto plant, and they wanted to sell. And again, it was the machine that I had. And he said, we were wondering if you might be interested. Now, why were they calling me? I didn't even know this gentleman, yet he called me up about the machine. And now I know why he called me up, because I was sending out that emotion from my heart. So there was no negativity in it. An emotion that you send out from your heart will circle the world. Now, I told him that I wasn't interested in it, and thanked him very much for thinking of me. And he said, we're going to return it to the manufacturer if you're not interested in it. And they returned it to the manufacturer. Next phone call I had was the manufacturer of the machine. That's 3 calls coming in, and nobody knew I wanted the machine. The manufacturer called me up and said, if you were interested, how would you want it configured? They were asking me for my shopping list. So I gave them my shopping list. During that period of time, a gentleman from Science and Technology Canada came in to see us. And he walked down our street, and it wasn't a street where normally people would walk. He came in on a weekend, and on a weekend, it was one of these streets where there was everything from needles to condoms on the ground. And so you would not see a gentle person walking through those streets. It's not on the path that people would go on. He walks into our place and he said, what do you do here? And I showed him the results of the patents that I had. And he said, looked at the the pictures, and he said, "Where did these come from? I've never seen anything like this in my life." Now, I didn't know at the time that this fellow was the head of Science and Technology Canada. And he said to me, "We're in the Ramadan. I've got nothing to do till sundown tonight. If your papers are in order, let me go through your books to see if potentially we owe you anything." So he went through our books. And at the end of it, he came to see me and said, "Okay, I finished for the day, but at first glance, we owe you a substantial amount of money." And he said, "Get your accountants to see us and to call us, and we'll tell them exactly what we need from you. But you've got a surprise coming." Well, right after when they went through the stuff and they told me what they were going to pay us, and they told me when we were going to get the first installment. It was at that time that Heidelberg, the people who who manufactured the machine that I wanted, they called me up to say, "Your machine is ready." And I said, "Well, I never said I wanted it." And they said, "It's ready for you." And I knew how much I was going to get for the machine. I knew that the first installment was $100,000. And they told me what they wanted for it, which was something like $180,000. I said to the gentleman, I said, "When is your year end?" And their salesman told me their year end was at December 31st, and we were at the beginning of December. I said to him, "If I have the machine off your hand by December 31st, pay you cash for it, will you let the machine go for $100,000? The salesman said, "Are you out of your mind?" "No." And I said, "You can't say that. Go and ask your superiors." He came back to the phone and said, they said, "Yes, I got the machine for free." It was with found money. Now, if you wonder why I do this every single day of my life, it's that I'm afraid not to do it. Imagine what I could be losing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The power of the thought and the positive thought. So yeah.
Absolutely, and this brings us to what we're looking at in a project that we've got coming up, in a conference we're doing, because don't forget, alchemy is not turning lead into gold, it's turning your thoughts into gold. And exactly what I did with that machine, I turned my thoughts into gold. And I ended up with a $900,000 machine delivered to our place for free. Mm-hmm. Because I wasn't willing to let doubt creep into my mind. Now, it takes work. And that's what we teach you how to do. That's what we bring you through, the understanding that you can do anything. That the only thing that you really need to do is you have to, A, get rid of doubt, and B, know exactly what it is that you want.
Yeah, so that's the 3 tips you've given us. Make a list of what we don't want, and then put the opposite to focus on what we want, right? Then to visualize with passion and to repeat it, to do it every day. So is that correct, John? I think I've lost you. Are you here, John? No, I think I've lost John. But and as John was saying, on the 23rd of June, I am co-hosting with Christian Masset from Peak Communication a webinar where John is going to talk about how to turn your thoughts into gold. As he was explaining, it's not like the alchemist was saying before, like in gold, like using objects, but using your thoughts to turn them into gold. And so you can create the life you want. I'm afraid John has gone. I think the connection has been a bit more difficult today, and because he's calling from his car. But I'm sure if you want to know more, well, just connect on the 23rd of June with us, 7:30 CST and 8:30, yes, EST Quebec, 1:30 p.m. Portugal, UK, and 8:30 Hong Kong. Yes, we're going to have people from Hong Kong joining us. So in the description of this Facebook Live, you will have to click on the link to register on Eventbrite for this event, but don't miss it, because you're going to get so much information on how you can turn your thoughts into gold and create the life you really, really want. Right, so next week, I'm going to invite Ophelia Ardisti, and we're going to talk about simplifying mental fitness. So if you've missed the previous talk shows, don't worry, just have a look at Phoenix Coaching and Training on YouTube, and you will be okay. And so you will be watching all the previous one. We've got a few, about 50. So thank you ever so much for being here today, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye.